All right, ready to go. All right, good evening and welcome to the November 4th, 2021 meeting of the Scarborough Board of Education. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And I'd like to begin by welcoming our three new members of our board, John Kelleher, Jenna Leong, and Jillian Trapini-Huff. Each brings a unique background and set of skills to this board. John is a lifelong Scarborough resident and Scarborough High School alumni. He is currently a project manager and has 2 children in the district. Jenna is an experienced educator and child life specialist who brings a wealth of knowledge with her in all areas of education, and especially in special education and working with students with learning disabilities. Jenna has 3 small children, 2 that are enrolled in Scarborough schools. And Jillian is a registered dietitian and long-term post-acute care and consultant for hospice. She has 4 children in the district ranging from kindergarten to 6th grade. All 3 are committed to putting our students first and continuing to work to ensure that Scarborough maintains a high quality education for them. I look forward to working collaboratively with each of them along with our other 4 board members and our 2 student members. Agenda 2.0, can I have the attendance please?
Of course. Mrs. Giftis?
Here.
Ms. Casalonis?
Here.
Mr. Kelleher?
Here.
Ms. Leong?
Here.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Here.
Ms. Trapini-Huff?
Here.
Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Ms. Giftis?
Here.
And Ms. Bertulia?
Here.
Okay, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, adjustments to the agenda. I'll talk to myself for a second. There are no adjustments to tonight's agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 5.0, election of board officers. So the first agenda item is 5.1, the election of a school board chair. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate Shannon Lindstrom.
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay, vote please.
Do you want any discussion? Do
Any-
you want to ask for discussion first?
Discussion on the nomination?
Ready to vote?
Hearing none, ready to vote?
Okay. Mrs. Giftis?
Yes.
Ms. Casalonis?
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher?
Yes.
Ms. Leong?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Ms. Trapani Huff,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Giftis, and Ms. Bertulia.
Yes.
All right, we have a new school board chair. Ms. Lindstrom, I will turn over.
You didn't even get your chance.
I did not get my chance. That's okay. That is okay. I cede my powers.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is 5.2, which is the school board election of the school board vice chair. Are there any nominations?
I would nominate Alicia Giftos.
Second.
Any discussion? Diane, can we call the vote?
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Ms. Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Ms. Trapani Huff,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Giftis,
Yes.
and Ms. Bertulia.
Yes.
All right, congratulations, Alicia. All right. Item 6.0 on the agenda is the public comment. Seeing as we have no one here, is there anybody signed in, Diane? That's interested? All right. Seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public comment. 7.0 on the agenda is superintendent's report, so turn over to you.
All right. Thank you very much. Couple of slides here, just first to start this week and next week. I'm getting into classrooms and going through and seeing kids. It's been awesome. Today, actually, I was in Wentworth and a lot and got around to almost every learning community, and it was great to just connect and get into classrooms and see kids and connect with all the wonderful things that are going on in our classrooms. So I'll be doing that actually likely in Blue Point tomorrow and 8 Corners. So I'm starting at the elementary school, and then next week we'll be in classrooms at the middle school and high school. And as well as Pleasant Hill. So it's just, there's so many amazing things going on in our classrooms, and the kids are focused and it's been great getting everyone back through this fall, and it's been a busy fall, and I just am so appreciative how much work our staff is doing with our kids, and then how focused and how hardworking our students are. It's really, really impressive. So that's been really fun getting in classrooms this week. I know I wanted to also do a COVID as well as a pooled testing update and just share some data from the last 14 days as went out in our district-wide newsletter on Friday. We've had some cases at Wentworth and at the middle school, 6th grade in particular, and then we've had a couple of positive pools as part of the pooled testing at Wentworth, which is actually showing the efficacy of our pool testing system is doing what it's supposed to do, which has been great. It's been a lot of work, and it's something new that certainly has put an additional pressure on our health services and nursing staff. However, it's working. So as far as the pool testing is concerned, in the K-2 schools, we have 190 participants at Blue Point, 200 at 8 Corners, and then 176 at Pleasant Hill. Wentworth, we have 500 participants. We also have in a pool 32 individuals at central office as well that are in a pool as well. And then I didn't put that down, actually. I missed that on this slide, but at the middle school, we have 360 participants signed up. We're going to be starting up relatively soon in the next couple of weeks. High school, 291 are signed up. Just as I was mentioning, some early observations on the pool testing, the day-to-day clinic oversight, contact tracing, as well as pool testing has just really been a lot for our nurses and for our health services staff. Our professionals are feeling the burden, and I can't thank them enough for their professionalism and how hard they're working. it's a lot, you know, and just like our all of us, this is not easy. There's so many additional responsibilities and uncertainties, frankly, that you know, trying to educate in a healthy way through a pandemic is putting on our nurses. So I just wanted to extend a public thank you for all of the work they're putting in. It's just so clear how much they care about the welfare of all of our kids. So it's much appreciated. We do have a pooled testing coordinator that's supporting this implementation, developing and maintaining weekly lists, overseeing the whole platform, and then also communicating with our provider through the state. That's been really important. And again, as I try to explain, this is all new. You know, we're implementing this program that's just hasn't been done before. So there's always going to be obviously a learning curve, and it will get smoother as we get into it. We do also have a handful of student nurses from USM that are assisting with implementation this semester, and then also next semester. That's been super helpful. And we're trying to collaborate and work together as much as possible to make this process as efficient and sustainable for staff. So that's really where we are with pooled testing. We're getting close to implementing at the middle school, and we're learning lessons. There's a big difference between implementing pooled testing at a small K-2 school with 200 kids, and then Wentworth being such a much larger school. So we're learning some of those lessons the hard way, I think, a little bit in terms of implementing this at a larger school. So few other observations, and we've noted this, I think, in a previous meeting, but as of November 1st, 95% of Scarborough residents approximately have been vaccinated for those who are eligible for vaccination, and that's inclusive of our kids starting at age 12 plus. I credit Diane and others for being all over the vaccination clinics too. So we're going to have 3 vaccination clinics for our 5 to 11-year-olds starting next week, 11/8, 11/9, and 11/10. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And there have been over 400 students that have responded to the survey that went out and already signed up. So that's great. And so we have a lot of confidence that we'll have a high percentage of our students K-12, you know, that will have their first shot and then be fully vaccinated, hopefully by, you know, mid-December or even January. So that I think obviously will have a huge impact on health and welfare, and then also will, I think, relieve some of the burden in terms of the contact tracing and a lot of the COVID related things that have really overwhelmed, you know, a lot of us in terms of how we manage our day-to-day and coming up with sustainable routines. So we're hoping that means there's a light at the end of the tunnel here. And then also just again, this is an evolving situation with our mitigation strategies. And then finally, as I did before, just really welcome our new Board of Education members, and congratulations and thank you for your service. This is a crazy time to run for the board and to become part of our board, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Are there any questions or discussion? Alicia?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for getting out, Jeff, for getting out in the schools. I had heard from one of my students that they had seen you not necessarily in the classroom, but regularly in the schools, and that was meaningful to them. So it, at least in my household, it's been noticed by the students, and I think that that's great, and I appreciate that. I was just wondering if you know what the impact has been to the classroom for the pooled testing, how long that takes for a process when the kids are getting swabbed. And
It's really fast. It's minimal disruption.
Really?
Very, very minimal. Yeah. And you know, the first time it's really just like a quick swab to the nose, and the kids are, you know, out in the hallway for, you know, seconds, really. I mean, it's just not long at all. So and we're getting better at it and trying to find better ways to do it, but it's very minimally disruptive. Yeah. I don't know, Diane, if you wanted to add anything or.
No, the only other thing I would add is, to date, we've been doing all our pool testing in the elementary schools. And so it is a little bit of a lesser challenge because kids are in self-contained classrooms and,
Yeah.
and so our nurses and support staff are kind of literally taking a cart from classroom to classroom and swabbing kids. The kids are swabbing themselves, but getting them that way. It is definitely going to present more of a challenge as we're thinking about how to make it work at middle school and high school, where we know that students are constantly changing classes, not necessarily with the same peers. So, we are, that is part of the reason why we've been really thoughtful with our approach in terms of, going level by level and making sure that we're doing it right versus just doing a mass implementation at one time.
Right.
Are there any other questions? I just am curious at the numbers. So do you know roughly what percentage of the students have signed up at the different levels for the vaccines for the 5 to 11-year-olds or 12-year-olds?
I don't know if we have the responses by phase level. You mean for vaccinations?
Yeah, what is the percentage? What is the percentage of our students that have signed up for the vaccine that are eligible?
So we have about, I would say, an estimate of 1,600 students in K through 5. And we had 400 families
420 right now.
express interest in the interest survey. We don't get the actual signups that they do through Northern Light because that's protected health
Right.
information that they fill out with Northern Light specifically. But we also recognize that, some of our families may be choosing other venues for vaccination or making other decisions as well. So we're happy to be able to offer the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And if for
Yeah.
anybody that potentially is listening and maybe hasn't signed up, is there a last date that they can, or can they do it up to the 8th?
There are some hard deadlines because again, Northern Light needs to be able to have the right amount of vaccine when they come on site. So for those schools that are testing on Monday, the hard stop for signups is tomorrow at noontime. For schools that are testing on Tuesday, that would be Monday by noontime. And for schools testing on Wednesday, it is Tuesday at noontime.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right. Agenda item 9.0 is new business. I'm sorry. No, 8.0 is student. I'm so sorry, Gabby.
No worries.
8.0 is student representative reports. So I'll turn it over to Gabby. Is Julia first? Pardon me, I'll turn it over to Julia.
At Pleasant Hill, teachers and students decorated class pumpkins with their favorite book characters, and they had a book character parade where students dressed up as their favorite. They've also had parent-teacher conferences, which have been going really well, and students have been making good efforts to readjust back to 5-day school weeks. On the next slide in Blue Point, over the past few weeks, they've had the fire department visit for fire safety, and they also did a dress up as your favorite character day. And then in the Wentworth, on the next slide, Miss Vay's class did a book tasting day, and that's it for that.
Thank you, Julia. That's so cute. All right, Gabby.
Okay, so this is at the middle school, and last week during the Halloween, they got spirit. And one day was hat day, school colors day, jersey day, and Halloween costumes. And I remember doing this hat day with one of my kids. You can't wear hat in middle school. And it's really cute to see all the costumes and school spirit, and I think it's back to normal middle school. My sister, she was dressing up every day, showing me outfits, showing pictures to her friends. Congratulations to Coach Kim Stoddard and our high school volleyball team who are the Class A state champs. This is a huge accomplishment and the turnout was great. As you can see on the left, that's our student section. And it was the day before Halloween, so we all dressed up in costumes. And up the top right, that's the fan section. And the energy in the gym, it was amazing to see everyone there. It felt awesome. And at the bottom, you can see that's the score for the fourth set. It was 14-16 the set. So it was a tightly matched game. Bitterberg is actually undefeated. So, congratulations, volleyball.
Are there any questions for Gabby or Yulia or comments, discussion? All right, thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Yulia. Okay, now 9.0, agenda item 9.0, new business. Agenda item 9.1 is a motion to authorize 2 prior school board members to continue to serve on the negotiations committee. And to give you a little bit of background before the motion, just so everybody knows why this is coming up. We are in receipt of a request to bargain from the union right now. And once that happens, we legally are bound to meet with them. And unfortunately, an election or the status of an election and us changing our committee over is not a reason to not negotiate with them and not meet with them. So we're in this period right now where we haven't yet formed our committees, but we have this request outstanding. So because of that, we really are looking to authorize two of us that previously had served on negotiations for an infinite time. So this would only last until our next board meeting, which is the 18th, because at that time we would seat new committees. So do I have a motion to approve Shannon Lindstrom and Alicia Giftos to continue to serve as the negotiation committee until November 18th, 2021?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All right, we're ready to vote.
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Ms. Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Peony Ha,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Giftis,
Yes.
Ms. Bertulia.
Yes.
All right, agenda item 9.2 is the first reading of the policy BED, remote participation in school board meetings. So I'll turn this over to Alicia, who again, during the last year was the policy chair. Kind of explained to us.
So I was wondering if we could just bundle all of them and talk about them as a set.
Sure. So we would bundle first reading of policy BED, remote participation in school board meetings, first reading of policy BCC, nepotism, first reading on policy BCB, board member conflict of interest, first reading of policy GB, workplace bullying, and first reading of policy IHBAC, child fine.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
So it just, we worked in policy committee, Leanne, April, and I, and Diane. And Diane brought to our attention that she had information that there were statutory changes, and some of our policies were out of compliance, or would shortly be out of compliance. So these policies need to be addressed so that we are in compliance with state statute. The first is to allow for remote participation in school board meetings. It outlines, as I'm sure you read, the reasons why you're able to participate in school board meetings remotely and how that can happen. We've certainly seen, I think, an increase in public participation as a result of allowing that to occur remotely. So from a personal standpoint, at least, I've seen some value in that. The nepotism and board member conflict of interest, again, that was as a result of a statutory change. We did have some discussions in the committee level about some sunset provisions that were optional in the statutory language that was set to expire in 2024. And so the discussion was whether that was valuable language or to us that we really wanted to keep, or and potentially risk being out of compliance in 2024 without like a natural trigger to come back to it. So we did decide to take out that optional language at the committee level. Policy GBGB, which relates to workplace bullying. I thought we had a robust discussion about that. The statute doesn't describe what or define bullying. And so we talked about the statute for workplace bullying as it relates to this particular policy. So we talked about what bullying meant and whether it's a pattern of behavior or whether bullying could be one incident that was significant enough to raise it to the level of what would be considered bullying. And Leanne and Diane thought that it made sense to look to our student definition of bullying. So we did that, and we aligned the workplace bullying definition with the definition for student bullying, which I think makes sense. And that is can be one incident if it arises to a level so severe that it can be considered bullying. Of note is that this policy would not take away any rights of employees to have a claim otherwise if they've been harassed or discriminated, for example. This is in addition to those other rights. Finally, the child fine policy was amended just to change the age in which a child could be identified, and that was changed to the age of, I think, from 20 to 22, Diane, is that right? Yeah. And so that was a quick change that we made. And so from, I think, policy's perspective, it's ready to go. But, there's 3 new board members. If you have any questions or any recommended changes or anything, this would probably be the best time for it, because it would then be sent back to the committee level, and that would happen, after committee assignments, and then whoever's on policy committee would take it up and do the work for second reading.
Thank you, Alicia. Is there any other comments or discussion? Well, thank you. April isn't here, but thank you, Leanne and Alicia and Diane. I know this is a lot of work, so thank you guys. All right, so I guess we do vote, right? So we're ready to vote.
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Ms. Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Giftis,
Yes.
and Ms. Bertulia.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, agenda item 9.7 is the meeting minutes from September 16th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. All right, any discussion?
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Ms. Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Peony Huff,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Giftis,
Yes.
and Ms. Bertulia.
Yes.
And agenda item 9.8 is appointments. 9.8.1 is the Jim Dandy appointments. Jeff?
I've been messing up these appointments all fall. So we have a motion for the Jim Dandy's instructor, Amy Colton, which is a stipend amount, booster funded in the amount of $1,709.
Do I have a motion to approve tonight's Jim Dandy's appointments?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Ms. Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Ms. Trapani Huff,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Giftis,
Yes.
and Ms. Bertilia.
Yes.
Congratulations. Quickly before the adjournment, as we were talking about committee seating and structure, excuse me. If you, if everybody could take a look at the website and the committee and the liaison roles and kind of familiarize yourself for those that are new with what we do, and send me an email with your preferences for your assignments. We will seat them at the next meeting, which again is the 18th. So if you could have them to me next week, by the end of next week, that would be fantastic. Yes,
Our meeting.
yes, yeah. So you, same consideration, you send your preferences in. And then, of course, the meetings will, I know Leanne worked really well last year, but fitting the meetings in when they worked for you. So yeah, the same idea. All right. So agenda item 10.0 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Mr. Kelleher,
Yes.
Ms. Leong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Ms. Trapani Huff,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Miss Giftis,
Yes.
and Ms. Bertilia.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Good night.